Oh, happy day. Oh, hold on one second. All right, what is going on, everybody? Rude Diversity here. We are back with another video. Today we're gonna be thinking about. I was just checking some stuff where I got on here. I decided that I'm gonna try to anytime there's a feature location is to cover it and give my opinions on it, and also give a great uh like good cards to use on that day, because when you get days like this, you have to take advantage of it for sure. um when they're, because you, if you know at least what location is going to be, like at least 50 to 60% of the time, you can very much play to it. Just like last week, they had that location that swapped the power, or no, actually not, yeah, that was last week. Yeah, swaps the power of the every card in your hand. Now everyone was playing basically Mr. Negative decks that day. Iron Man was a big card. Everyone was just pretty much playing cards that had basically zero power, zero power, right? So that they could play it for free after the swap. So this is kind of a day. Milano is, I believe, how you say it. So, and I'm assuming this is related to Guardians movies, which I think I see Groot in the back. I have not seen it yet. I've been waiting to see it. I'm seeing it this weekend. I just watched Guardians 1. I've seen all of I've seen like almost all the Marvel movies at this point. Is there any movie I haven't seen? I haven't seen Eternals, which I was not even like thinking about that movie. But there is not a single Marvel movie. Now I will admit, Guardians of the Galaxy was definitely not up there for me. Didn't know them well in the comics. Had no exposure to them in my childhood from any shows or anything like that. Like most of the other characters, I had know nothing of the Guardians. They just seemed really like a comics like heroes. Like, you know, that you have to be a really like diehard comic fan to really like appreciate them. So I felt like it wasn't me. Just I wasn't like too crazy about it. Also, just think kind of like the cast, Brad Pitt, or yeah, Chris Pitt. Sorry, um, Brad Pitt. Wow. Chris Pratt. Sorry, said that name wrong twice. Chris Pratt. Sorry. You know, I didn't know much about him. Anyways, when rewatched the first movie, Guardians 1 was actually pretty good. In the middle of watching 2 right now. Now I've already seen 2 kind of full front. I didn't see Guardians 1 front to back. So it was watching basically a whole new movie for me. Guardians 2 was I seen it front to back. Now I'm rewatching it. So it makes more sense now that I've seen Guardians 1. So it should be a decent rewatch. I'm just trying to make sure I hit all my plot holes from when I watched Volume 3. So anyways, sorry about this. So like I said, I think this is rap is related. Obviously, this is Guardians like month or whatever. Basically, we got Nebula, which was the season card. So essentially, yeah, it's just all about Guardians this week, just like how last week was all about X-Men. We had the Sentinels, Nimrod, I think, right? Was this Nimrod? No. When did we get Nimrod? We had Sentinel, and who was last year's card? Not last year. Who was the? Anyways, for my memories, I have so much other things to remember that I forget half the stuff in this game. But anyways, Milano, pretty solid map. So it's interesting. I think this is really cool. Now, there are a lot of turn 5 maps. So I think this turn 5 is very convoluted for whatever reason. I don't know why the game does this, but Marvel Snap Second Dinner, please know this is not really a good turn to kind of have a lot of these wonky features. I think turn 3 is the best. Now I will say this is one of the better turn 5 maps, because it's pretty much like you're not like basically like you let's say you essentially won't know if you're gonna win or lose until turn 5. And if there's only one turn you can play a card here, turn 5 is a pretty good turn. I think because then you can play at least most of your turn 5 cards on it. Like, you know, who's it? Like, what's his name? Red Skull, for example, right? Someone like that. So, anyways, yeah. So turn 5, I think this is one of the better ones. Now there's that one map I forget. I'm really bad with like map location names for whatever reason. Some of them stick, some of them don't. Like Borrow No Name, pretty straightforward, pretty easy to remember. Void, that's pretty like the easy names. The ones that are like have complex Xandar or something, like I don't even know if that's a real map. I just some of the ones that have some crazier names, I'd be like, what? So I don't always keep remember. And there's like 90 something locations. So if you can just list locations off your head, like then you are truly spent hours on this game. Which I mean, who hasn't? Like I can go pull up my hours now. I think I don't even think I've spent so much time on this game that I don't even think. There's very few games that probably touch the hours I spent on here, and 2K is probably one of the only ones. And maybe the Gears series in total, like all the years I played Gears, but like 2K definitely, and maybe not even COD, because I didn't play. I wasn't like that big of a fan. But yeah, this game is definitely taking a lot of my time. I go check my hours right now. It's gonna be pretty high. So yeah, yeah, so there's that map. Okay, so I'm gonna just describe it. Location where it gives every card in your hand is an extra cost that on turn 5. So I think that's really dumb, because if you're I play this card, if you're an uncurved, like if you have an uncurved deck, that basically screws your deck up. It's like basically getting hit with an Iceman, that your opponent, like every card getting hit with Iceman. So it's very much a bad map. I think that needs to be like turn 3 or 4. They have to change that. If there's any location I think that they should make a change, it's that, and just make it like turn 4. I think turn 4 isn't too crazy. I mean, if you're running Zabu, then you can still play your turn. Like then there's even a card that counters that. So even if you're playing turn, I think that's actually the perfect thing, especially with the release of Zabu. They should have made that location a turn 4 play, because then you still can play your uncurved cards if you have the right cards with you. So I think it's pretty solid. But yeah, turn 5, you can't do nothing about that. Because you can't even play. It's like Sarah. Sarah's a turn 5 card. So even if you unless you can get Sarah out early, then you're basically still affected by that map. And then you can't even get your Sarah out because of that location. So it is a very bad location overall for players, which I think most of these locations are interesting and fun and cool. But a lot of them are just bad, and they're just like hurt the play. It's not just bad for everyone, especially ones like Bar with No Names. Really interesting concept idea, right? There's negative power cards in the game, so I mean you can very much like play into that with the right deck. But there are certain locations like Sanctum Centaura or whatever, with the no card can be played here. That location essentially, unless you looked up and played before turn it was revealed, then you basically are screwed unless you have I guess now there's Jeff, but Doom was like the guy to get to those locations, and I guess like the Tiger Wong thing, Odin thing. So yeah, and then like another on curve play. That's a good one. Wong, White Tiger, and Odin. That's a on curve play. You're playing those cards on the turn. They cost their energy amount, and you can't do that with that location I just said. And the other turn 5 location was cards can only be played here on turn 5. Now that one's not too bad either. You can easily play around that. You really can play around all of these locations, I think, for the most part. Well, I see now. I just realized there is a lot of locations that happen on turn 4, so I guess that's not too crazy, because there is a lot of turn 4 locations, and I think there's a few turn 3 locations. Definitely, there's obviously no turn 1 or 2 locations, because Athena or a turn or whatever, something where your hand is like redrawn at turn 3. So anyways, yeah, this is, like I said, a pretty cool idea. I think it's interesting. Only one turn is open. At least this is better than like Sanctum Sanctorum, right? So you at least have a chance, right, of playing on here. So it's not too bad. No, today is a great day to abuse this. So let's get into some good cards. Like I said, my opinion on it is a great location. I have no complaints. They should actually probably do another one where, like, I wouldn't mind if there was a location for every turn with this, except for obviously, I guess, turn 1 and 2. Then obviously, if it's not the first location revealed and it says like it can only be played on turn 2 and it's revealed last, then you obviously can't play it at all there. So it basically becomes a Sanctum Sanctorum. But anyways, so yeah, basically pretty good. So before I do that though, I have reached 60,000 tokens. Man, I must admit, like, this was used to be like before they updated the token like collector thing, how many you were getting. This was definitely like so unrealistic to get 66,000. and I have definitely hit it, and I am ready. I'm saving Darkhawk. We will not get him. We're gonna wait next week to go ahead and get the brand new we weren't able to get Iron Lad. Obviously, we had like 4,000 around that time, but we really weren't gonna get him anyway. We're waiting to get the new guy that gives cards with no abilities. So I'm really interested to kind of be one of the early ones to try that. So I'm glad we managed to get the amount of tokens we have, and that really the biggest thing today is Token Tuesday. Token Tuesday doesn't even require you to spend money, as long as you just save your gold and don't touch your gold for the week. Then you should be able to get Token Tuesday almost every week. So I have been not really been looking too much at variants lately. I feel like this one looks a lot like what's his name. This is actually a pretty solid one that I don't even mind spending only 700 on. What's today? Was Token Tuesday today? Yeah. So I have another week to gather up my tokens. Chibis of the galaxies. That's kind of funny. Yeah. If I see someone with that, I know y'all spend money on this game. I'm gonna judge you. But yeah, that's a really nice saber tooth. I think even it's only rare, so that's interesting. Um, yeah, I like the Sandman, but I don't play Sandman enough to really get that. I've seen that Jubilee 1,000 times. I'm gonna claim this Polaris. She can go ahead and make like 2 decks for me. One, I can make an actual complete pool. I can finally make a complete Surfer deck. My Surfer decks have been missing her, and she is a really much needed card in that deck. Her and I have been had Maximus a long time, and I was using Surfer long before I got to Pool 3, because he was a season pass card. So anyways, been waiting to get her. Gonna go ahead and lock in on her for this month. And I don't even know. Let me see, when is the next claim? So it won't even go. Do we get a Oh, let me go away and come back. Okay, there it is. 2 weeks. I was like, I have not. I like literally, yeah, so it's already been like halfway through the month. So yeah, that's why it says only 2 weeks left. So yeah, I was like, cause I know the very first time they did this, it was like we got another new car like 7 days later or something like that. So I know now it's like once a month type deal. And yeah, Polaris was just one of those cars I was just waiting on. So I want to just go ahead and get her. She can she can also make a Kingpin deck. Her and but the thing about that is, I wanted to try that, but the more I think about it, it seems kind of, well, I don't know. I guess you could fill that location. It's interesting about that. I gotta think more on that. But anyways, but yeah, because if you play, yeah, actually that's pretty solid play, because you could play yeah, it's a lot. I think I can make a viable deck with that. But anyways, okay, so back to the cards. Okay, so I want to talk about some good cards that you can play with Milano. So first and foremost, obviously it's Guardians week. So the first, I've been playing Guardians deck today. I think a lot of people have today been playing Guardians deck because of the there was a challenge earlier today. I beat it, so I can't show you guys, but it was basically like this says Guardians greatest hits. So Star-Lord had a challenge where you had to like win 10 times with Star-Lord in your. Now this is one of the first times I've gotten like what's these challenges called? Like a season pass challenge. It's one of the first times I've gotten one that actually like made me have to like make deck adjustments. And I just kind of just happened to pay attention this one time and looked at it, and it was saying use Star-Lord. He like win 10 times with him in your deck basically. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna use that Guardians deck I made a while ago. So anyways, Milano is perfect for using Guardians today, essentially. And I think a lot of people have not been paying attention to it, and I've won a few games. So right now I'm using not Doom, but Professor X and the Guardians, right? So the reason is because I'm running Daredevil, and obviously Daredevil pairs well with Gamora, as well as all of the Guardians and Professor X as well. So it's kind of why he's here. Leader is here because this deck is one of those decks that you're pretty much gonna be in the lead most of the time. So your only concern is just kind of for the most part is beating out that final turn. And another thing too is this deck lacks a little bit of power. So we kind of sometimes just want to copy like they might Magneto or something. We want to copy that, right? We just copy their best cards. They play Doom, we're copying Doom, and then we win. I think this is I never used leader before, but for whatever reason I just looked at this deck and I said I think we're gonna be winning like 80% of the time, just because if we're playing in the locations we want and we know they want to play in, then we easily are outpowering them, and we just need to play leader 6 on turn 6, and we should theoretically win right now. So even if they play Gamora and if they have priority too, I think we copy. I think we might even copy their Gamora after it is it's double his power. So I'm not sure about that though. But anyways, it's a good counter to Guardians today too, because if the Guardians, because he's automatically, well, he's not like he copies all their cards, but basically if they're running another Guardians deck and I leader and I copy like their Gamora, then I basically win, right? So especially if it's in the same lane. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, we basically Gamora on Milano with my deck I'm using right now on turn 5. If possible, if not, we can even do like Star-Lord and Groot, or like Rocket and Drax. And if they're already been beasted, then we can play like a bunch of them on that turn 5. So we have a lot of options with that. And then yeah, so this is just the deck I'm running. This isn't really, and if you look up, I did once I think looked up and played Nebula in that location before it was revealed. So a lot of times if Nebula's in your hand, you just take that guess and hope you hit right on the Milano spot today. And you have a good chance of just having her just power up pretty crazy. And even on turn 5, I don't even have to touch that lane. So if I look up and get Nebula there, and then I can just Professor X another lane, then I basically win the game after that. Because they shouldn't be able to catch up in power, especially even if they play Gamora and I don't play if they play Gamora and I don't play there and I play Professor X somewhere else, then I even should win there. I have not been running to Gamoras though, but obviously I think that's the best play to run today, in my opinion. Now let me talk about some other cards that'd be great to run there. Besides, like I said, all the Guardians are great there because most people are gonna want to play there. It's not as bad as that. I think it's like an Avengers tower. What it's like? I think it's Avengers related, but or something tower where you have the player on turn 5. That location also counter. So basically, with both, if you get both of those locations, then this Milano location basically becomes Sanctum Sanctorum again. So I don't know what to say about that. If you get that location where cards can only be played, here it is on turn 5. Yeah, you're pretty screwed. So okay, so first let's actually just look at the 5 cost cards. So I think Devil Dinosaur is a good day. Devil's I have some cards in my mind already. Now I can't really think of them. I'm gonna have to look at them real quick. Devil Dinosaur seems decent to play today on there. You're not worried about getting Shang-Chi. Also, Shang-Chi is another nice card to play today, because if you know you're gonna get Gamora and you're not in you don't have priority, then it's probably a good day to Shang-Chi that location, because they probably might play another card. I'm thinking about Red Skull. Abomination even solid. Not that people run it. I would say Spider-Woman, but no. Vision's also a solid card to run today because you can get them in that location later. Also, I wasn't thinking about 6 because I was thinking already you're going to be past turn 6. But obviously, Dr. Doom is the king of getting into locations you cannot get into. Scroll Girl is solid because, basically, if you're not running a Destroy deck, Scroll Girl is kind of solid because then you can you can at least put 1 power in that lane. For now, anyone I don't think anyone. Oh, I guess Heimdall theoretically. But obviously I'm not gonna, that's so hypothetical, and you would have to be middle or left for Heimdall to be beneficial. So yeah, but just know it can, in theory, move decks are okay today too, especially, but the move decks I use require me to be able to play in that lane, because I'm using Dr. Doom. I'm not using Nightcrawler and Vision most of the time. I'm using Iron Fist maybe, but then again, you're doing the same thing Heimdall would do, so same kind of predicament. But yeah, mood decks aren't too bad right now. Any other sixes that are kind of just not really on the six. Hobgoblin solid, kind of. I think, like I said, Devil Dinosaur. If you run, I can think of some strats with Valk. If you run or like right now I'm running I've been running what's his name? Mr. Fantastic, and he's been kind of doing great right now in this deck. And I think he would if you Valk that location, if you don't have priority, then you can just kind of like make sure that you Mr. Fantastic it, and you should better win it. Also, Claw would be kind of solid too. Any location is just gonna able to get power into that. Any card that's gonna be able to get power in that location without being played in it is gonna be doing solid for the most part. But obviously, you can play your turn fives there. I think yeah, Red Skull. Even I think Jane might be a solid card. That's a decent. You're putting a decent power into the deck. If you're running like a Thor deck, and then you just